Why did the Partition of India turn into the world's largest and bloodiest forced migrations? In August 1947, India gained independence from the British, but straight after the country was split into two nations, India and Pakistan, and this caused the world's largest forced migrations, leading to 1 million deaths and anywhere between 12 to 20 million people displaced. But why was it such a violent process? While India was under British influence for more than 300 years, whether through the East India Company or the British Crown, during which time not much effort was made to understand the plethora of languages, ethnicities, cultures and religions that existed in the Indian subcontinent. In the 19th century, the British began categorizing Indians by religion, with Hinduism being the majority. The institutionalization and politicization of these religious categories began to foment a sense of distrust and tensions between the Indian people. Now, by the time World War II was happening, calls for independence were getting louder, but within India, different political leaders had different visions on what India should look like post-independence. Now, Gandhi and Nehru of the Indian National Congress Party wanted a united and secular India post-independence. But Muhammad Ali Jinnah of the Muslim League wanted a separate Muslim state because he believed religious divisions had become so entrenched that a united India was not possible. So when British Viceroy of India, Lord Mountbatten, announced in June 1947 that India would soon gain independence, he said that it would be partitioned into a Hindu state and a Muslim state, but he did not say how. He only set the date for August 1947, a year earlier than was initially planned. There was no clear plan for partition or for the peaceful transfer of power, and the borders of these new states were not announced either. In fact, the task of establishing these new borders was given to British lawyer Cyril Radcliffe, a man who at this point had never even been to India. He used outdated maps and inaccurate data to draw up borders in the region of Punjab, Bengal and Assam, and thus decided the fate of millions. Princely states that were located on these borders had to choose which new country to join, and regions that did not have a clear majority, like Bengal and Punjab, were divided into an Indian side and a Pakistani side. So when independence did happen in August 1947, the new borders were announced only 2 days later, which meant that many people did not know if they were now in India or in Pakistan. Millions were forced to leave from what they perceived as being on the wrong side of the border, and they moved to regions where they would be the religious majority, but violence erupted almost immediately. Millions of Sikhs, Muslims and Hindus were displaced, and the regional power vacuums left behind by the British caused an atmosphere of anarchy as mobs and militias appeared, massacring migrants. The Punjab region, which was now split in the middle between both India and Pakistan, experienced exceptionally horrific levels of violence, and the majority of victims were women who experienced widespread rapes, mutilations and kidnappings. Many women were killed by their own family members so as to save them from the torture and brutal deaths at the hands of militias. Blood trains were also well-known examples of the violence during partition. They were trains that departed the station with refugees and arrived at their destination with corpses instead. But the violence did not stop with partition. Instead, it carried on with brutal religious violence both within India and Pakistan, and it carried on with the clashes and wars between both India and Pakistan themselves. And in 1971, the region of East Pakistan gained independence and became Bangladesh after a bloody independence war that claimed the lives of anywhere between 500,000 to 3 million Bengalis. Now, since the Hindu ruler of the princely state of Kashmir later chose to join India after initially desiring independence, the region of Kashmir, which is a Muslim-majority region, became a disputed territory between both India and Pakistan, over which there have been many wars. Today, the legacy of partition is still prevalent, with the religious divisions happening domestically, the political hostilities between India and Pakistan, and the stories of families that are still not reconciled today. But for the British who oversaw the split, the partition of India was not a lesson learned or applied elsewhere, as we are to see with the borders that they later drew up in Africa and the Middle East.